Welcome to Line 1 TV. I'm your co-host Jacob, and my other co-host Cleo would be here if she didn't escape. So now I have to wait until the producers get her back, which means I have to do everything around here. You know, that includes finding ideas, writing scripts, setting up the production. I mean, even writing the cue cards is hard because I'm illiterate. That's what this is. To start off the recap, Toronto Marathon decided to bully me by setting their dates of the marathon between the time that we're shooting this and the time that you're seeing this. So all I can really tell you is that the marathon that involves runners from all around the world occurred on May 4th. That's all I can say. Although I'm actually curious if you can see what the last runner is, last place, because I feel like that's a lot more interesting than first place. So you know what, Editor Joel, showcase the last place runner now. Robbers and thieves just missed the biggest opportunity of their lives now that the Toronto Coin Show is over. Occurring the 2nd and 3rd of May, the event included public trades, public offers, and workshops. Actually, do you collect the coins that you collect?
When you sell a collected coin that you collected from your collection?
Okay, I'm gonna stop talking because if I keep talking and hear my voice, I'm gonna scream. So we're gonna transition over to Chris. And maybe you'll see Cleo as well.
All right, so we are here with
Brian.
So tell us a bit about your role here at Silver Snail and how long you've been working here.
So I'm the co-owner. It's been 9 years of owning it since it was at Yonge and Dundas, and then we've been here for 4 years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that was quite the transition. I remember, like, growing up, I used to go to the Yonge and Dundas location all the time. So could you tell us a bit about what that transition was like and the reason behind it?
Well, we originally were on Queen, so this location was the original location where the original owner owned. And that was out Queen and Peter. So everyone kind of associated us with Queen Street West. And then Yonge and Dundas was where we moved after the original owner sold the business and the building. So our plan eventually was always to come back to Queen West because that was kind of our home base and where people associated us. And then when everything shut down in 2020, it was just made sense to do it then because it was we could actually, change our location then, and it was everything was closed anyway. So then we had time to actually do the transition then. So we did it a little bit earlier than we were planning, but yeah. So that's kind of our home has always been Queen West. So we're a little bit further west, but that was we're back to the same general area.
Back to your roots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So personally, at least for me as a comic book fan, I feel like Silver Snail is definitely a staple of Toronto culture and Toronto community. Yeah. What would you say as a comic book store owner? Yeah. What makes the culture of Toronto's fandom so unique?
I think in terms of events, we're kind of the city that gets the most different nerd events or nerd adjacent events. So a lot of people are coming in from out of town and descend on Toronto, whether it's Anime North that's in May or Fan Expo or we counter program Fan Expo and do Free Expo around the corner with local artists and stuff. But I think we have a lot of people it kind of becomes the nerd hub for all of Canada, really, because it's that we get the event, so everyone comes in, and then also with OCAD, and there's a huge arts community too. So it's there's a lot of local artists that work in the city or come from outside the city to work or to learn or whatever. So I think that is just it's way more of a vibrant scene because it's kind of the epicenter of all of it in Canada.
You probably might not remember it was because it was a long time ago. It was back in I want to say 2019, 2020. Yeah. When I had written the first copy of the manuscript of this kind of graphic novella that I was working on. It was called Superfly the Guardian. Yeah. I actually brought it here and had it on the shelves for a while to sell. It was back at the old location before you guys moved. I guess it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
There's probably a box of from the move, a box of consignment books somewhere, or we sold out of it and I owe you money.
It's a water to the bridge. It's probably it was $5 I would charge him for. So it's not big of an amount, but I just remember it being a huge step for me as a creator to branch out in that capacity. So then I was grateful for Silver Snail being there to be able to comics clearly is an industry that's ever growing, ever expanding, And like these days, I feel like with like things like Marvel Unlimited or like Comixology and like online like comic vending, I feel like, at least me personally as a fan, like there's something about coming into a comic shop and feeling that feel of the paper on your fingers, like that is just something that like can't really be replicated. So I'm curious, like what would your thoughts be on like what keeps fans coming back to comic book stores like this, even in this new digital age?
I think like we do have a lot of people that read online, and that has changed people's reading habits, but there seems to still be, if people really love a series, they want like either a hardcover volume of it eventually if they've been like really into it. But I think the other thing is, it's like there is still something about, like, it's Tuesday, I'm like breaking down the books or sorting them for tomorrow. It's like Wednesday, if a new book comes out, if something wild happens in it, it's like you want to get the book on Wednesday. Like it's like that's because that's when you like the thing kind of like actually happened. So I still think there is an element of that where it's like you can actually get the story right when the events are happening. You don't have to get anything spoiled, where I feel like, you know, if you're waiting, you still get a chance of things being spoiled, and there's just less of the kind of like immediacy of it. Someone was trying to pitch collectible NFT comics to us at one point, and that I believe I don't think the value's held in those.
Probably not.
I checked back in 6 months later, and there was no.
There was non-existent.
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't listed on the NASDAQ, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, as someone who like runs a comic book store, like I would assume that you're like a fan of like different types of comics as well.
I feel like I more gravitate towards like different like specific manga artists, that it's like, oh, whenever their stuff comes in, I'll always like check it out. Someone like Teo Matsumoto or someone like that, where it's like, you know, a less following characters and stuff, and just more following like artists and looking into what they're doing. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you so much. It was great meeting you. Great talking to you. And we're gonna check out the comics here. And thank you so much.
Hello everybody, my name is Elmer, and welcome to my segment on Line 1 TV. You know I love art, but today I'm going to show you a sneak peek at one of the biggest art exhibitions in Toronto, this being Grad Ex 110. Grad Ex is pretty crazy, and we actually are going to see some sneak peeks while some students are preparing their works. Let's go check it out. And how long have you been working on this project?
I've actually had the idea for this project for around like 3 years, more or less. But like these specific paintings, I've been working on them for around like the whole year, basically. And I'm very happy to kind of have it completed.
Yeah, and I wanted to know, what were you hoping that people would take away from viewing your art?
Kind of to either get them to kind of rethink how religions are seen, like when they're not from your own, and at the same time also kind of spark a curiosity in Mesoamerican religion in general, just because it's not as well known or kind of considered as other cultures in the kind of like in the ancient or world. So I'm very passionate about it. So I kind of hope to spark that passion.
Yeah, for sure. And where can people find your art here at Grad Ex?
I'm gonna be at the 6th floor on the like on one of the wall corners, facing like the blue building.
And how long have you been working on this project?
It's 2 separate projects, but it's all from this semester and last semester. This is like the full year thing, but yeah.
Yeah. And what are you hoping people take away from viewing your art?
I think a lot of it just revolves around a love for the ocean. So anyone who can sort of resonate with that, hopefully you can see something in that with this.
And lastly, where can people find your art during Grad Ex?
6th floor in like the illustration hallway. I'm tucked away in the back section. No, not really. You'll see me.
Yeah, and how long have you been working on this project?
Well, I like to think that, everything I've done has led up to this moment, All my years of schooling have come together, but if we're going to talk about when I started the project was last semester, January,
January of last semester, fair. And what do you hope that people take away after viewing your work at Grad Ex?
I hope they get to know a little bit about the psychologistics industry, how it can benefit Toronto. They can find my work here on the 5th floor. I'm right beside the elevators. And come say hi to the advertising program. There's so many great projects to check out. And I'll see you at Grad Ex.
How long have you been working on your project?
12 to 13 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I restarted right after I was done with my final class.
And what are you hoping that people take away from viewing your art?
So my work is about sustainability and sustainable cooking. So because I used to work as a manager of a cook team, and there would be a lot of food waste that we would try to kind of like upcycle into different products, which is not a habit or an activity done by most restaurants or most people in Toronto. So I do want people to understand the culture of upcycling food here. It is mostly associated with like furniture, but it is in cooking and it can help food waste. So I want people to just learn more about that. So people can find my work at room 506 on the 5th floor on 100 McCall.
How long have you been working on your project?
For my project, it's been a span of a year because it's for multiple classes and it's mainly packaging design.
Yeah, and what are you hoping that people take away from viewing your project?
Hopefully, you'll get to see my efforts in building sustainable packaging because I like to aim for stuff that helps the environment and not use so many materials and also keep it like cool and fresh. I'm in room 506 and right when you walk in, you'll see my booth.
And how long have you been working on this project?
I've been working on this project for all of thesis, so about quite a few months now, yeah.
Yeah, and what do you hope that people take away after viewing your art?
I hope people take away that there is a strong link between sport and art, two things that people don't really think of in the same vein, but there's such artistry in sport and I wanted to bring that to life in my thesis project. I'll be in room 484 from May 7th to 11th.
How long have you been working on these projects?
I've been working on this since summer of last year, and things kind of just kept snowballing over the course of the term.
Wow.
But these are most recent works here that I completed last month.
Yeah, and what are you hoping that people take away after viewing your art?
I'm hoping that they take away the invisible mental disabilities that plague us all. I suffer from memory loss and it's really hard to function and there's not a lot of resources about it, and it's especially not something that happens to a lot of young people, I think. You can find it in room 490 of 100 McCall, also on my website, just haleymeyer@format.com, and on my Instagram, HaleyMeyerArt.
This is Sandpaper Hammock. Welcome.
Yeah, and how long have you been working on this project?
Oh gosh, I would say a year, but I feel like it existed before I started working on it. So it found me this year during thesis.
What would you say you would hope people take away from viewing this experience?
Hopefully they feel something, that's all. In room 354, in the audio lab, for the entirety of Grad Ex, I will be here performing, hopefully.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that concludes my segment on Line 1 TV. Thank you for joining me. And of course, you can check out these amazing artists and more during Grad Ex 110 happening May 7th to 11th around OCAD buildings, not just limited to the main building. So be sure to check out where other projects are exhibiting. See you later.
Combining the sense of natural spirit and floral chaos with the intentionality of installation art, Fleur de Ville is hosting their own Toronto event from May 7th to 11th. The main route contains a multitude of floral installations that actually look pretty cool and has workshops and markets surrounding the space. Also occurring 7th to 11th is OCAD University's 110th Grad Ex, featuring hundreds of thesis works from students. You'll be able to see it all for free. And if you stop by on the 7th for opening day, you'll be part of a nice little free party. Guys, it was a little free party. We'll also be there from the 9th to 11th, and I'll be there too. I actually got to work there myself. It's a performance piece, and I'm going to see how many artworks I can tackle in 24 hours. This time, no helmet, so I'll see you guys there. Early registration for Bike for Brain Health, a charity bike marathon, is still open with a $70 entry fee. Taking place on the Gardner and DVP Highway, replacing all the cars on June 1st, there will be 25, 50, and 75-kilometer options, as well as a 10-kilometer family ride. That's it for this week. Hopefully next week, Cleo should be here, and I won't have to suffer so much. My handwriting is starting to look like monospaced numbers. Next week we'll be at Grad Ex, and I'll hope to see you there. So guys, thank you all for watching, and if you see Cleo, say something.